Hello, I would like to share with you today on a very interesting subject. Many people striving to be effective and successful in their work are often challenged by the realities of how to manage your boss. We've all got different types of bosses. Is there a magic wand for managing bosses? I don't think so, but I think that the key to managing any relationship with spouses, relationship with friends, with parents, with children, with bosses, the key to all of these relationships lie in understanding the personalities of the people you're engaging with. And I think that sociologists and psychologists have done us great work, great charity in their research in trying to understand and categorize people and our behavioral patterns, our communication preferences into personality types. I'm going to share with you very quickly on the Merrill-Reed personality typology, which consists of 4 distinct personality types: driver, amiable, expressive, as well as analytical. 4 personality types that often are that come out in our bosses, in our spouses, in our friends, in our family members. And let me say 2 things about personalities. Number 1 is that do not get fixated by the personality itself. People are often in transition between one personality and another because people are often trying to either make improvements in their lives, adjust to their weaknesses, and so on and so forth. Number 2 is that do not stereotype people around personalities. And I think that another 3rd thing to add is do not try to change your personality so that you will become somebody's friend or to get along with somebody. But rather what you should try to do is to adapt your behavior to align with people's preferences for communication and engagement that are often revealed in their personalities. So let me start off by just giving you a few stories from my own life about some of these personality classifications that I mentioned. Number 1, I remember when I used to have a boss who was a driver. Now let me tell you something about drivers. Drivers expect results. They care little about greetings and hellos and how are yous and how was your night. Drivers are focused on results, and here's what they do. Drivers are always prepared for a conversation. So if you have a boss who is a driver, then you've got to also be prepared. Now the question, ladies and gentlemen, is how can you be prepared on a Saturday afternoon when your cousin is getting married and your driver boss calls you at 2 p.m. and needs to know the updates on the client's transactions from last week? You can never be prepared. So here's what I recommend. If you've got a driving boss who calls you on a weekend asking you for updates on things that you are not prepared for, ladies and gentlemen, miss the call. Oh yes, miss the call, allow that phone call to ring out, buys you time to go and call your colleagues and ask them, hey guys, was there anything that Oga needed from me yesterday on Friday that I left out? Was there anything that happened after I closed? Send your boss, your driving boss, a text. A lot of driving bosses, because they are drivers, you know what they will do? They will respond back to you very quickly in the text and say to you, yes, Bishet, this is what I expected you to do. Here's the question I'm asking. What's the updates on so and so client? And ladies and gentlemen, guess what? It gives you the opportunity to go into your BlackBerry, to go into your computer, to phone a friend, to do a 50-50, whatever it takes, and get the answer. 5 to 10 minutes later, you call your driving boss and you say to your driving boss, oh, I'm so sorry, Nike. Here is the response that you wanted. I was indisposed when you called, blah, 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 blah. And guess what your driving boss is going to say? Yes, thank you very much. He will go home back to his wife and say, you know, Michelle is a great guy. You know, every time I call him, he always has all the updates at his fingertips. What did you do, ladies and gentlemen? You bought time. Because I tell you sincerely that if you had picked that call and you were ill-prepared for that conversation, which most likely you would have been considering that you were in a wedding party on a Saturday afternoon, he would have been upset, he would have been pissed, his voice would have been raised, and when he goes back to his wife that afternoon, he will say, why do I have such people working in my organization? If you want to manage a driving boss, here's my recommendation: miss the call. I remember also a few years ago, and I'm moving over to talk about my analytical boss. I used to have a boss who was hugely analytical. And the trick to analyticals is that they want detailed information. They want a logical arrangement of facts. They are often not moved by stories and grand expressions. And so, I had this analytical boss and I needed to get an approval from him. He said to me a couple of times that, Michelle, look, all you need to do is, why don't you write me a memo showing me a motivation, like a cost-benefit analysis of this new expense or expenditure that you want to take up. And every time he said that, I would be, why doesn't this guy just get it? All I'm asking for is a car. It's simple, a new car to help us to run around the regional office, to run around the entire northern part of Nigeria. Everybody sees that we need a car. We are barely surviving on the one pool car that we have. And you know the mistake I made? I was playing out my own personality. My own personality is expressive. It's about telling stories. It's about painting a picture for people to see. Trust me, analytical people don't care about your picture. They care about the logic. They care about the facts and the figures that will support your arguments. Here's what I did. I listened. I figured that what I should do was to do that cost-benefit analysis. And the beautiful thing about this story was that within 30 minutes of sending my cost-benefit analysis memo via fax to my boss in Lagos, guess what happened? I got a call from the administration department. The admin manager asked me one question. Michelle, what color of car do you want? If you understand what I'm saying, analytical bosses, if you want to manage them, give them the detail, give them the logic, make an insightful argument, build a case, and you will get what you want. Refer them to Harvard Business Review. Refer them to books that you have read that show the logical meaning and understanding behind your proposition. They would most likely accept and give you what you want. The third category that I will speak about today is my own category, and I'll use myself as an example. So I think that I fall squarely most of the time, and I do, move around from one personality type to another from time to time. But most of the time, I'm expressive. And when you've got an expressive boss like me, I actually had a conversation with someone today who works with me about how to manage an expressive boss. Here's what I think. Expressive bosses are all about entertainment value. So it's all about ideas and creativity. If you've got a boss that is expressive, if you want to wow your boss, come into the office every Monday morning and say, boss, I've got 3 exciting ideas about what we should do in our organization. And guess what? You're soon going to become his or her best friend. Now, it doesn't matter whether the ideas are adopted or not, but you know what it shows? It shows that you have a sense of entertainment, you have a sense of creativity, you have a sense of ideas, and you are passionate about the job that you do. One thing I do know that most expressives do not like is dead silence in response to a question. For an expressive boss, he could become very, very irritated, or she could become really irritated when she asks a question and she gets dead silence. Expressives takes this concept very seriously, that silence is the best answer for a fool. And so, if you've got an expressive boss, always have something to say, including, that makes sense. Let me think about it. That's nice. I will make improvements. Just say something. Keeping quiet can be very difficult for an expressive to manage. Ladies and gentlemen, managing your boss is about understanding personalities. And I've shared with you the Merrill-Reed personality typology that consists of drivers, analyticals, expressives, as well as amiables. And I've shared with you 3 stories about my driver boss. Remember, miss the call. My analytical boss, remember, facts, figures, logic. And myself as an expressive, it's all about ideas, creativity, and entertainment value. I hope you found this useful in managing relationships with your bosses, but I tell you, it can also be found very useful in managing relationships with spouses, with friends, with colleagues, with family members, with parents, and even with your own children. Thank you very much.